What's going on, YouTube? Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that everyone takes super personal. They argue about it, they have conversations about it, it keeps them up at night. We're talking about the one thing that only matters, and that's sensitivity. Just kidding. Sensitivity is not the only thing that matters, but it is an important part that does play a key aspect into your gameplay. Today, I'm going to talk to you about my personal takes on it, the things you guys should be concerned about specifically for Xbox. And hopefully you learn something. Hopefully you take away something from it. And these are my opinions. If you disagree, congrats. I don't know what to tell you. So, first things first, 90% of you need to not worry about this one thing, and that is ALCs. Turn them off. Don't worry about them. You don't need them. You should never be worried about them, especially if you're like a 9 to 5, or maybe you play even a little bit more than 9 to 5. You just don't need ALCs. A lot of pros don't even use ALCs. As my last knowledge, Verholz doesn't use ALCs. Imperial How doesn't use ALCs, and that's pretty much the only people that matter in the pro scene. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boys. But with that being said, ALCs are good. They do offer a lot more fine tuning over your controls, but they just really aren't necessary for what you're looking for. I used to use ALCs. The first 3 years I played the game, I used ALCs. They're nice, make you kind of nerd out a little bit, but you really just don't need them. So the main thing that you guys need to be focused about are your look sensitivity for your ADS, and your response curve and look dead zone. That's pretty much it. Just those four things. Um, a lot of what I'm going to recommend to you just kind of depends on your play style, what you like to do, and how much time you can really devote to the game. My personal opinion, all right, this is my personal opinion. The absolute best setting that you can use, at least for my gameplay, is 4-3 linear with a small dead zone. I think that 4-3 linear is the best because it allows you to have the most raw control over your aim. With linear, it's whatever your input is whatever goes out to the screen. So it's just straight input. Now that can be a good thing, and that can be a bad thing. The good thing is it allows more fine tuning over your aiming, but that can really be a bad thing because if you don't have a lot of time to dedicate to this game, that can really throw you off, especially as the distances get further and further. As the distances get further and further, you can see how much more difficult it is to control my recoil. I have to put a lot more thought into recoil control because it's direct input. So with that being said, continuing with my recommendations, is I also only recommend 4-3 linear if you can use the graphics mode on performance mode for Xbox. If you cannot use performance mode and play at 120 FPS, I also don't recommend linear. It's way too much fine tuning for you to have to do over a video that you can't even really see what you're trying to do over, if that kind of makes sense. It's just too much. It's like trying to stick a freaking 120
I should
horsepower
get an
engine
upgrade. You
onto
can
a
never
freaking
have too many
moped. Like,
upgrades.
I don't know, maybe not a good analogy, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's just too much. You don't really need it, and you're not going to get what you're looking for out of it. So if you can't play on performance mode, I would highly recommend you just stick with classic. 4-3 classic is what I've played on for the longest time. If you're someone that cannot play the game a lot, like maybe you're 9 to 5, maybe you only play a couple hours a week, I would highly recommend classic. It's easier to get control of. And if you think about your aim in terms of like medium distance, short distance, and long distance, it gives you the best average control over all three of those distances, while linear scales as you get closer. So the closer you get to someone using linear, the better they're going to be. The longer out they are, the worse they're going to be. And that's just the facts because it's just that much fine tuning of controlling. Back into the firing range. I don't know why it just decided to crash on me. So if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of time to dedicate to the game, I would highly recommend you try out 4-3 Classic. If you are someone that has more time to dedicate to the game, but maybe you're just not able to play on performance mode, something I would recommend is 4-4 Classic. So I still recommend sticking with the Classic simply because it's going to allow you to move your ADS faster, which is what a lot of people have issues with with 4.3 Classic if they feel like it's too slow. I'd recommend 4.4 Classic. And sticking with the Classic specifically if you can't play on performance mode because that's just going to allow you to have better control of your aim. One thing I will recommend is if you are playing on linear for most controllers, you'll probably want to change your look dead zone to small. Um, Basically, what your dead zone is how far you have to move your stick before it starts registering as input. So with linear being straight input, if you have no dead zone, literally even the slightest twitch of your thing is going to throw your aim all over the place. So I do recommend small. It's going to help out a pretty decent bit actually. If you're playing on classic and your controller has no stick drift, I would recommend no dead zone. If your controller does have a little bit of stick drift, then I would recommend small. And if you are playing on linear and your controller has stick drift at small, you're going to want to change it to large. This look dead zone is essentially how you can fix your stick drift if you do have it. With that being said, that's pretty much all you need for aim. 4-3. It's what most of the pros use. It's really simple. It's really easy to get the hang of. Linear does have a little bit of a learning curve to it, especially as you start getting out to those farther ranges. Me specifically, I switched to linear for like 2 months and I didn't like it because my long range really, really suffered. And then I heard from someone else is because I was not able to play, performance mode hadn't came out, we weren't on 120 FPS, and a lot of the console players that had switched to PC said they were only using linear because they were on PC and they had 120 frames per second. But if they were still playing on console, they would stay on classic. So I switched back to classic, had a lot of success. 120 FPS then came out, and now I've made the switch to linear, and I'm having a lot of success with it, going crazy this season. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those questions in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer them. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.